Hey there guys, Rapidaroo here, back with another Starcraft Broodwar Remastered cast, and today we are following the ladder struggles of Artosis versus Protoss, and this game in particular caught my eye because it is on Eclipse, a map that Artosis and many Terran players enjoy playing on because of the many ways that Protoss can exploit it. So I'm looking forward to having a bit of fun. Seeing if there's any salt, maybe not, who knows. If you liked the video, please do hit the like button, and I said like twice, I'm okay with it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do, and without any further ado, let's get into the action. Alright, so talking to you, I can see the probe halfway across the map, which tells me that we've started our pylon and we're going to go and try and do a gas steal. RT would have had this happen to him a million times, so he certainly does have a counter in mind as to how he tends to want to deal with this. I don't understand, if you have 3 veto options to play ladder, why you would keep Eclipse, unless you want to whinge about it, right? That's a theory. I'm happy to put it out there. I think that's one of the reasons why he plays this map, is so that it makes for more entertaining viewing for his stream to hear him tilt when things happen. So he hasn't built his barracks here, so his barracks is massively delayed. He starts it there now, much later than he otherwise would have wanted to because of the probe harassment. Probe gets the gas steal off. I can already imagine how happy this has made him so far. He's not going to like that barracks placement, but it's probably not going to matter. He's going to end up floating it when he takes his expansion. What's our plan behind this as our Protoss? Looks like we are going to build some zealots and harass. We haven't done the forward gateway just to try and reduce the rush distance. This is quite a common counter from Terran to block the quick nexus. You just build this offensive eBay. You build it for like a third or whatever, and then you just leave it there incomplete. So barracks is nearly done, and our probe is still running around with a decent amount of health. So clearly this Protoss has got a decent amount of APM, able to keep microing this probe and carry on with his build. So certainly a skillful player, knows how to harass, knows how to be a nuisance. And Artosis is also known for having pretty solid mechanics and good APM, so he's definitely not going to be any slouch in that regard. So he's getting a bunker up because I think his plan is to do a gasless expansion. And because he's managed to delay the Protoss's expansion, I think that almost puts him on a little bit of parity with the Protoss. So he's got 2 Marines in this bunker, but of course the solution is to run by. He's got 4 SCVs that are busy killing this gas, this offensive gas. He's only got 1 Marine here though. Interesting to see what the Protoss wants to do with his units that he has here, whether he wants to engage or he wants to wait for another Zealot and a Dragoon potentially. Obviously the goal is to snipe 1 or 2 SCVs. That's all you're really after. You're not trying to win the game with this. You're just trying to gain an edge, right? You're just trying to get a lead, whether it be economically, whether it be in workers. It's just to harass and be painful. The body blocking here with the SCVs is really good, but it doesn't take a lot of shots for Zealots to kill SCVs, so there's 2 sides to that, of course. Also now the Rax is in a spot here where it's actually not ideal. These units are going to get stuck. The pathing is going to be a little bit of a challenge, so that harassment from the Protoss initially certainly is paying off. But a nice little bit of patient micro from RT. Probably lost maybe 1, possibly 2 SCVs max, and 1 Marine. For all of that. Now this bunker is full up, so run-bys are, I think, no longer going to work. If they do, the amount of hit points that the Zealots are going to take is probably just going to be too much. So Dragoon is on the way, range is incoming, Nexus is on the way, and Artosis has started his command center. So after all is said and done, our worker counts on our supplies are exactly the same. So I don't think either player has got an edge or a disadvantage. Artosis factory is coming in, and this game should now just normalize into any other sort of regular PvT type style game. So now this be a case of the expansion pattern of the Protoss. Just goes up here to check, did you try and take a quick third? Doesn't unfortunately get up the ramp to confirm either way, so maybe another scout will go out from RT, we'll have to see. I think one of the things that the Protoss will try and do is position a few goons here to block vulture getting out to go and harass and to grief. So we'll have to see what scouting information Artosis is able to get before his scanners go up. Alright, so we're getting our 2 factories. I think the thing that can happen potentially is, you know, there's always a risk of DTs, invisible men, that sort of thing. Where are your SCVs to repair? You've got 2 Dragoons, so you need 2. There we go. So he's probably expecting a 3rd Dragoon to rock up shortly as he comes down now. Alright, so in terms of the progression here, we see a robo. So you're probably going to have a robo for observers, although you pretty much know what's coming out of your Terran. So if you want to rush your Reaver, if that's the style you're going for, this Protoss has an APM where he could play Reavers pretty comfortably. So you could go that way, but I see only an observatory in the production tab. This pressure is proving very beneficial. It's forcing the repair, which costs money, of course. And the other reason why it's beneficial is it's forced him to go siege mode before mines. So he's going to face no vulture harassment. There's actually not even a vulture on the map. So you can just walk across the map here and lay down a 3rd nexus without any troubles at all. So constantly going to have to pay for repair. He does get his eBay and his turret in time. So there we go. Good stuff. So he blocks any potential DT harassment if that is a follow-up. He's got no scouting information at all. He's totally blind. So does have to prepare for all contingencies. Siege mode is about to finish. When it does, the siege tank will siege up and push away these Dragoons. And then Artosis will be able to move into the next phase of the game. So there the siege tank sieges up, shoots the first Dragoon in the face. The Dragoon hasn't moved yet. Sieges up another tank, and that's the end of that. Okay, so Artosis is 7 workers behind. Our Protoss, to my surprise, has not established this nexus yet. So we're looking at a 7.5 minute plus 3rd, which on 2 gateways could potentially have done a little bit better, but I think he wanted to make space in his budget for this. The Reaver drop, so he is going to go for Reavers. I see Speed Shuttle in the production already. This is very much the meta of this match. So absolutely can expect some more harassment. In goes the Observer. I love the timing on this based on the start. So flies in before any turrets can harass. Comes in, he's going to confirm the armory. Sees, okay, so this probably looks like a 3 base or just a relatively passive build from the Terran. That tends to be Artosis' style. He doesn't play 2 base push very often. He does tend to play more of a 3 base full, you know, sort of 3-2, 200 type Terran style. Which does expose him to various types of harassments and timing attacks. He would have come across Reaver harassment millions of times in all the games that he plays on the ladder. So here is our shuttle. A couple of zealots pop in there. And so we're going to see how this harassment goes. A couple of goons are going with this, maybe just to pocket in a little bit behind. Potentially clear some mines if there are any on the flight path of the shuttle. Or just to have them in a position where they would be of more use to him than at his rally points. So here it comes. Those vultures did get out and did lay a few mines. Siege tank is actually in a really good spot here, just behind this gas. Takes a decent hit there. Does get the Reaver down though. Takes another hit. Is he going to be able to get... Oh, the siege tank got a nice shot off there, and minimal damage from that harassment. In fact, I don't think Artosis lost anything. Was very, very well prepared. To be honest, it was quite premeditated. Like, I think he could have a pretty good sense that this is what's coming. Observer flies straight into a missile turret, and there are a couple of goons here to protect, and there's a pylon wall here to protect. So our Protoss is looking pretty snug. Doesn't have that much of a lead. The challenge now for RT, a couple of idle workers here. The challenge for him is actually going to be now to scale up. The 3rd is on the way. Always, I know how his chat griefs him about when he builds and lands his 3rd command center. Definitely not an issue here with intent. His intent is to try and get this landed within very good time. The challenge will be that these Dragoons are going to be parked right here, and he's going to have to get out. And I think that this Protoss is going to build an arc, and he's going to have a couple, not like Noah, not that kind of arc, but he's going to build an arc that's going to make it pretty tricky for the Terran to come through this narrow position, siege up, and fend off these Dragoons without taking some damages. So therein lies the challenge that is playing Terran. A nice denial here. I think this Protoss was looking at potentially taking a fourth. Now has to send a Dragoon there. I hope he has an observer with him. I don't see an observer, so this is going to die. That's very sloppy. Okay, so another shuttle. Probe here now this time, in full view of the Vulture, and will probably also get killed, unless... I think Artosis might have... Well, he's still in view of the mine, so he may... did send a Dragoon escort this time. I hope he doesn't go up the hill and die to mines. Never mind. Okay, so... here it is. It's the old just sitting there, right? So he's not planning to attack. He's just planning to block. And behind the blocks, he just wants to get his bases, his gateways, his tech. Looks like he may even be going arbiters. So he's going arbiters behind, expanding to several bases while keeping Terran pinned on 2. That's really the strategy here. So Artosis now, in an attempt to establish his third base, does have to move out. That is a very, very, very dead SCV. The Reavers are in the front. Does siege up, and a nice Scarab shot there picks off a tank. So he's just gonna micro backwards and get himself a couple of Vulture kills. So I think Protoss is just kind of chill here on the high ground and kind of has to surrender this position to Artosis. I think the frustrating thing for Terran is this just takes so long. You've got to unsiege, resiege all the way along here. Then you've established yourself. You've got to then build a couple of depots, build a couple of turrets, lay some mines, and then you've established a position. So it's just really, really time consuming, which is the frustrating part. The Vultures have got to provide the buffer, which is what we see here. You've got to scan just to confirm where the army is. It really is quite painful. I accept that. And Protoss being Protoss is going to be like, well, I don't know if I want to just let you take a base so easily. Maybe I'll do some zealot bombs. Maybe I'll try and drag some mines. Maybe I'll try and move in with my 180 army and throw you down with some storms, throw you in with my heaps of speed zealots, and just dive on top of everything you have before +2 kicks in, and try and overwhelm you just with ground units. And that seems to be what's happening here. And herein lies the challenge on Eclipse, and herein lies the challenge on pushing out and taking your third, or just playing a 3-base style in general. Protosses tend to build up a big mass of ground units, and they have a nice amount of units to attack. And so unfortunately Artosis was not able to move out, was not able to claim his third. And it wasn't a very complicated style type game from his opponent, but it sure did get the job done. They actually played each other the day after again. So I'd like to bring you that game to see what, if any, adjustments Artosis made. So here we go. That starts now. Okay, so here we are. We are back. This time on Eclipse again. Same players. We spawned down here this time. And we have built a proxy gateway. So we haven't done the gas steel yet. But it looks like we are going to be applying a lot of pressure. Artie's actually done a nice response here in terms of this SCV block, because now there's absolutely no chance. Oh no. I was going to say there's absolutely no chance of a gas steal. Okay, there we go. It does get his refinery up. So it doesn't lose the gas this time. So that's not going to be the grief that Artosis is going to have to deal with. But he's moved his SCV across. There's no hiding this. You don't build this here with an, you're not trying to hide it. You're just trying to go, here you go. I'm building a proxy gateway in your face. what you're going to do about it, kind of thing. So behind this, we're just probing up. It's going to be zealot harassment. Artosis is just going to have to contain the harassment and get his factory up. Once he has vultures, then this becomes all but useless. But there will be a window period where this is useful, and there will definitely be a window period where this is annoying, because this zealot is here 2.5 minutes. He doesn't even have a marine. So here comes the first marine. So it denies a bit of mining time, which is not great. So it's now just a game of micro, getting your SCVs to stop mining when you need them to drill them to higher patches so that they don't get into the firing line of the zealot. Now we have 2 marines in action. I don't know. Okay, now we have 2 zealots here. So this is getting really, really dicey, really, really fast. Bunkers in play. First marine gets in there. So now these zealots have got an area that they cannot move in, which is the back end. Okay, so the surface area that they can harass has now become the front, where they can remain out of range. They can't go in the back end yet. This is a very well placed depot, very smart. You can't get around. So you can hit the depot, but I mean, that's not really going to be a major concern to Artosis. He could send a SCV around here to repair, which he's chosen not to do. Does have marine that's protected by the depot firing at the zealots. Has actually had to pull 6 or 7 zealots to SCVs, excuse me, to fight these zealots, but has just lost, I think, 3 SCVs so far and counting. Factory's on the way though. As I said, the minute a vulture pops out, this has then become a very, very, very futile exercise. Protoss is progressed though in their build behind this. He stayed on one base, but I can see he's gone cybercore. He's got gas going because he's got a goon incoming. He should have range coming soon. So he does understand that this, like any other build, does require a transition. In fact, his first dragoons already arrived. He started range. His second goon is incoming. This is becoming really, really, really difficult now for Protoss for Terran to deal with, because now the vulture that was going to be his saving grace is not going to be able to do a hell of a lot. So he's now got 2 goons on this on the map. However, there's 5 marines here and a lot of SCVs, so the Protoss decides, okay, I don't think I can do too much more damage in your main, so my new plan is to probably expand and delay your expansion as long as I can. So this forces a second bunker out of Artosis, which is really not ideal from an econ point of view, but you don't have much of a choice here as Terran. You've got no SCV on the map, so you cannot scout. So you don't know if there's a DT coming behind this. You don't know what Protoss has done behind this. You don't know if they plan to expand. You honestly know nothing. So if you want to try and get a vulture onto the map now, it's going to be next to impossible, because the dragoons are probably going to intercept it here in the choke. So it's a very, very hard thing to do, to have to play basically blind. But that's the position that Terran has been forced into. It looks like what Artosis is going to do is going to build a command center here, and then he's going to try and land it when he gets probably a tank or 2 in play. I think siege mode is the only way he gets this command center landed. I don't see vultures being the solution. So let's keep an eye on that production tab. He hasn't made the siege tank yet. He's got the money for it now, and so he does make the first tank. And I imagine he will start researching siege mode shortly. So again, the harassment and the aggressive start from the Protoss, giving him the edge, giving him the map control, giving him the opportunity to take his nexus behind that. He's got range, so I guess the next building, if I could hazard a guess from our Protoss, will actually be his robotics facility. And as I say that, he starts it because the next thing I think he would want on his agenda is to get some Reavers into play, to be able to press and put some pressure on the Terran some more. So command center incoming, and as I said, siege mode just starts now after he starts his second tank, and that's going to be Artosis's plan, is to land this command center once he's hit siege mode and progress from there. He's actually flying a barracks around to get him a bit of scouting intel, which is an interesting approach. I mean, there's no downside to that. He doesn't have a vulture, he doesn't have anything else on the map, so that could give him some insights into what's cooking. is building an eBay behind this. So he wants to be able to build a turret relatively quickly because he doesn't have scanners. So once he lands down here, if there's a DT or anything in the mix, then that's going to be game over. So a little bit of proactive risk management from Artosis. As I said before, because of the start, he's been stuck in his base. He hasn't been able to do any scouting. So that does put him in a tricky spot. Here we go. So the goons get the good news. Hi. We have siege mode. Very nice that he pops the turret down immediately. So he's going to have detection. So it doesn't move the tanks down. He doesn't need to. They have perfect sighting of anything incoming. The eBay is going to be here to scout for incoming drop play. And so he should at least have some early warning of what's happening there. Okay, so what has our Protoss got on the go? They have their observatory. The observer is flying across the map, taking maximum advantage of his map control by establishing a third base. And we could well get the no delayed Reaver this time. The Stargate timing tells me that this could be carriers. And the +1 air confirms that it's definitely going to be carriers. Okay, so a very different approach this game to the previous one. Same map, different type of harassment. It wasn't a gas steal, it was a proxy gateway. So a proxy gateway into carriers versus a, well, pretty delayed command center into what is going to probably just be a 4-5 factory build. It'll be interesting to see if Artosis tries to play a 3-base game style again here. Or if he just tries to power up off 2 bases, take some map control, and then potentially expand afterwards. So a couple of observers in play here. The turret placement means that he's not really going to be able to see too much of what's happening in the natural. There is a spot here in the... There's a spot here in the main where you might be able to see something, but that was very nicely denied. Okay, so does our Protoss think that he wants to now try and pick off a tank or two? I don't see the merit in that at all, because you've got these tanks on the high ground. You don't know how many more are behind this. You don't know if there are Marines in this bunker. We know that there are. So... I don't know where that was coming from. Ah, he killed his bunker, so he can get down the path. Okay, that bugs me a lot sometimes. You just hear this noise and you're like, what the hell is happening? Maybe you should kill this bunker too, because it's messing with his pathing, and he doesn't need it anymore. He might not. So this game is quite quiet. Nothing too exciting happening as of yet. Probably only going to culminate when there's a move out. Tracy's Armory. Sounds like a fun place to go. And I'm looking at units, thinking, so we're getting our first 2 carriers on the way. Thinking that there's going to be a move out. Okay, so that was very nicely done. So it just moves 1 siege tank forward to be able to get these vultures out. So you can get, okay, so there's nothing here. Okay, there's only a zealot there, which you might have probably not even seen. This siege tank's just shooting at this gateway. That's what that noise is in the background. So he's getting a full base count at 11 minutes, going, okay, well, looks like you just have 3 bases, which from a Terran point of view is probably manageable, as long as you scan and counter the carriers. Now he's gone Charon boosters. I think it's pronounced Charon boosters for Goliath. So he has scouted the carriers, I can presume. There's no other reason for you to get that Goliath upgrade at this stage of the game. So correctly scouted what's happening. Is now building 3 Goliaths out of his factories, and he has gone up to 5 factory production and is building a starport. Okay, so it doesn't look like he's showing too many signs of trying to take a third. As I say that, there's the command center. Okay, so is going 3 base. I think of the 2 games, the 3 base option here makes more sense because Protoss is going carrier. So as Terran, you have more time. The problem is if you don't move across the map and kill the Protoss before he has too many carriers, then you're dead, right? So it's, it's kind of like a double-edged knife. The decision making around carrier play is always a little bit tricky if you are Terran. So we'll see if Artosis has got this right or not. I'm honestly not sure. It'll only really come down to when the carriers enter the fray, does he have enough anti-air, and can he press across the map and deny any further expansion attempts from our Protoss and destroy any expansions that have already been taken. So looks like our Protoss wants to go up to a 4th base. Looks like Artosis now wants to break out onto the map and potentially go and pressure one of those bases as... No interest in pressuring anything. He just wants to set up, I guess, a position to establish and land his 3rd base. So command center's there. I think he can land it. Potentially the units can come up here and harass. So we'll probably see some mines in this area to give him some warning of any attempts to come up and harass this 3rd base, which is exactly what happens as we say it. Alright, so here come the carriers. They are loaded up with interceptors, and they are going to, by the looks of things, probably fly in over here and harass the natural. A very few turrets from Artosis. So while he has built himself a number of Goliaths, he doesn't have that many. He's making vultures as well. So he's making 2 tanks, 4 Goliaths, and a vulture. So, okay, now I'm not so sure if he scouted the carriers. Let me know in the comments if you think he scouted the carriers. Because why would you be making tanks and vultures knowing that your biggest threat... I mean, he's got a lot of Goliaths, right? So, okay, he definitely did. He definitely did. You don't have this if you think it's arbiters or something else. My question just is, do you not just prioritize building Goliaths? I guess the challenge there is if you just build Goliaths, then you die to the ground army, right? So it comes down to having the right composition. This is probably the way this game went now, is going now. It's probably something that you see the least often, specifically from a caster's point of view. I don't do a lot of carrier games. I don't think carriers at a lower level is particularly strong. Stork likes to do it, and there are a couple of good Protosses that play carriers, but for the most part the Korean pros are just playing shuttles, man. They're playing speed shuttle Storm, speed shuttle Reavers. That's the style of the day. Carriers are old hat, man. Carriers and arbiters are just like not done as often as they once were. So Artosis has his Goliaths, he has his tanks, he has what he thinks he needs to confront the Protoss army. So here we go. Looks like we're going to have our battle. Still just 2 carriers at a time, so it's not actually a full commitment to carriers. It's kind of like a hybrid style where it's predominantly ground units, which I think really serves the Protoss quite nicely, because once these Goliaths are not going to fight as well against Zealots and Dragoons and that kind of thing. Fortunately, a couple of the Protoss units, they kind of just got stuck. So Protoss has pivoted around here and said, okay, well, you've moved your entire army down there. What's an observer? I don't need an observer. I'm going to fly up here and I'm going to wreck your base. This forces Artosis to unfortunately have to turn around, fight a lot of this ground army with Goliaths. Does now get into a position where he can siege up, and as a result of that, I think he's going to be able to clean up a lot of Protoss here. There's no Zealots. It's basically tanks, and these tanks are just becoming these goons are just becoming absolute goon juice. Very nicely done. The supplies there have become basically even, and if you look at the worker count, then Artosis has got a significant army advantage. Does siege up a few tanks here in an attempt to harass this base and get shut down quick smart, but decides, okay, well, I'm going to move some more units this way. And the Protoss has gone, okay, well, I've got about 9 carriers. So if you want to move tanks and nothing else down here, I'm totally cool with that. The Goliaths, though, seem to be what's fighting the tanks. The carriers, though, are targeting down the tanks here. Sorry, the Goliaths are fighting the carriers. I don't know why I can't say what I'm trying to say. Freaking hell, it's so annoying. I just watched the cast now where I introduced the Terran player as a Protoss player. I do that way more often than any person should do. It's so freaking annoying. It's like you have a disconnect between your brain and your mouth. So it does get up here finally. We're a bit split off here. So the carriers are kind of picking on and harassing and defending. And the ground units are picking off a couple of SCVs. But the Goliaths are going to have... I mean, they're going to struggle to get up here. But he does micro them decently enough. So that's going to tidy up that. Artosis lost 8. Lost about 8 SCVs to this harassment. So it's probably worthwhile. A scary amount of carriers, though, are on their way, and I mean, we still have a lot of Goliaths, though. Alright, so our mix is fighting here. He goes back home. Besides, that's enough. There's the observer here. Sees what's happening. Nice mine placement from Artosis. Can see that it's only, well, it's 5 bases, which is, I mean, it's enough to be, scary. Make no mistake. Okay, so our carrier goon combo are headed again to this. Oh, the 4th base position. Okay. So I actually missed the 4th base being established. He'd been harassing the 3rd so often. But Artosis has done a great job in establishing a 4th base. This is a pretty big fight here, though. So Goliaths versus carriers versus tanks versus goons. It's a juicy fight, but it does look like Artosis' forces are being whittled down a little bit. 187 plays 120. And unfortunately, the carriers have gotten on top of this base, so that command center gets taken out along with about 6 or 7 SCVs. It's not going to be too much of a stretch for him to be able to move across here and take down that command center as well. And the goons have done a marvelous job supporting the carriers and cleaning up the remaining Goliaths. He's got basically no Goliaths left. And there we see our first little bit of salt. Cheese and go, carrier. You're really skilled. Laughing my ass off. Thanks, GG. And off he goes. Alright, well, as a little bonus, they played each other again right after this. So, one last game. So, we'll cue that one up for you right now. Let's go. If you're still with me, thanks for watching this far. So this is the last game of this little mini-series between these two players. This time we're on Neo Silphid, so it'll be interesting to see what, if any, adjustments this Protoss makes. He's been taking quite an aggressive, exploitative approach to playing Artosis so far. Obviously, Artosis will be a little bit salty from the previous game. So if you're having fun and you're still with me, please do remember to hit that like button. And without any further ado, let's get into Game 3. Alright, so as said, we are on Neo Silphid. Just looks like a standard open from our Protoss so far. Nothing too funky or interesting going on. So we'll have to keep an eye on what happens. Looks like Artosis is probably just going to wall in against any zealots here, which is a good approach on a flat map. And I think also the purpose of this egg. So what do you do if you're Artosis? You're probably expecting something from this Protoss. And if I could predict, it's going to be a Nexus first. It's what you do if you've played cheesy, right, against your opponent. You do the absolute anti-cheese, or you do, I guess, what's called economic cheese. I can just imagine when Artosis scouts this Nexus first, he's probably just going to hit the roof. You know... So here it is. Here comes the Nexus first. We'll see if it's the one that includes the Forge, or if he just goes without it. I think this will certainly invoke a strong reaction from Artosis when he scouts it. So we'll keep an eye on the scouting SCV that's on his way out now. And we've got to see which way is he going to go. He's got a 50-50 chance of first scouting this. And it looks like he's going straight. But he may go to the center spot here just to scout for center gates. No, he doesn't. He's just gone straight for a bit of a weird pathing so far. So he is going to see this. Halfway down, he's going to spot the Nexus first. There it is. So he's going 2 gateways behind this. And a gas. We're going to keep an eye on the mini-map for some blue. It's usually going to be 2 or 3 SCVs. Sorry, 2 or 3 Marines and about 6 or 7 SCVs. He may just make a bunker here and try and get this done. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I have a feeling that he's not just going to sit back and make a standard factory expand. He's going to put on some pressure. Factory is on the way, which is part of how you squash this Nexus first. You don't stop making Marines, so you get yourself up to a certain point, and then you reinforce with Vultures and SCVs. Cybernetics Core is on the way. He will have 2 Zealots by the time any attempts to kill this Nexus first arrive. Up to 4 Marines now. Marine number 5 is on the way. Vulture is on the way. Here comes the Strike Force. 4 Marines are not going to do much against 2 Zealots though. So the question has to be, do you wait for the Vulture? Because once the Vulture's around, then the Zealots are certainly going to have a tough time. So the other Marine joins the party. Here comes the Vulture. So here's our squad, right? Our hit squad of Nexus First Destroyers have arrived. Our bunker that we want to try and build is going to be stopped. Simple as that. That SCV is going to die. So he's going to need another SCV to build the bunker, and he's going to have to start again. I don't think he cancelled that as much as that was destroyed. SCVs are body blocking, but he's not able to get a... What this Protoss has done well is he's created a very narrow space with the pylon wall, which means where is he going to build his bunker without taking shots from everybody? So now the Marines are having to shoot the bunker down. The Vultures are not really doing anything against the... but the good thing for Protoss is he doesn't mind. He doesn't want to engage until he has enough Dragoons. 3 Dragoons, I think, is the number here. If the Dragoons target down the Vultures, although these ones are not firing for some reason. Okay, now it's 4 Dragoons. Now it's just plenty of units. Artosis is not even going to get this bunker up, let alone get this... Oh, hang on. Hang on. Let's not count our chickens here. So, he's got 13 workers versus 16. There are 2 more goons that are almost finished. 3 goons. So when he's up to 4 fresh goons, he's going to get this bunker up. He does. Okay, so credit where it's due. It was looking a bit dicey there. Range is about to finish though. If range finishes, these goons will pick off this bunker and he won't get the Nexus. And that is going to be so tragic for Artosis. He's invested so much in terms of SCVs, in terms of money. There we go. So range does finish. A bit sloppy there that he let that 1 goon die. So he's going to have to spend a heap of money on repairs. He's got 4 SCVs, which is what he needs. This goon, though, is not firing on the bunker. He's actually firing on the SCVs, which is really smart. Now it's 5. Now the bunker will go down. There's absolutely no stopping it. He doesn't have enough SCVs, so he cannot repair at the rate that it's dying. The Marine tries to pop out to fade some shots, to buy some time. Is he sending... What's he sending here? He's sending another Vulture. And he's going to get mines relatively soon. I think that's important. Because he does get it. So he held on long enough. He does get the Nexus first. The question I have is it actually going to matter? It's so difficult for Terrans to destroy the Nexus first and basically gain some sort of advantage from it. So don't go too far ahead. You're going to get eaten by mines. Okay, he doesn't seem to care too much. So he knows now there's mines on that pathway. Kills the bunker. And... looks like he's going to tidy up... Nope. Oh, wow. A little bit of luck there, but he actually manages to tidy up all of those mines. So Archie will lay some more mines on the road to the base of Terran. He's mineral clicked those back. You can see that's why they have that glow. And I think this... He's now moving in pods so that the front two can absorb mines, of which there are 3 here. And the back can just sort of stay safe. So that's why you can see he's got this creative kind of pathing, spreading them all around a little bit, because I reckon this Protoss has just gone, you know what, I've got 19 workers. I'm not making any more. I'm making a Reaver, a Zealot, and an Observatory behind this, and a Pylon. I'm kind of committed to going all in on this one base build. And he's nuked what little mines were left. Did lose a goon for that. Now it's going to be interesting to see how much damage the Reaver can do if we get that far. So 3 goons have come in, 2 goons have come in, and he has lost... Okay, so he manages to kill both tanks. He's basically traded all his goons though, so Artie should really have this one in the bag. If he can just hold on here against this Reaver, he should be good to go. There's no attempts to expand here by the looks of it. I heard of... There we go. Okay, so here it comes. So we have a shuttle, and we have a Reaver, and we have a Zealot. Our vultures are moving around the map, so they should be able to see what is happening. A goon as well is probably just going to move to the front. A little bit of bad luck there for Artie that his vultures happened to fly past at exactly the wrong time to miss this. But here comes the Reaver, and boom, he gets himself one. Only one. He has 1 tank. And the bunker. So he's just going to have to stay out of range of the bunker. So drops the Reaver. And the Scarab hits... Oh no! In avoiding the Scarab from the one side, he gets picked off from the Dragoons on the other. That is so tilting. I think now the goons can just move in here, because the Reaver's in a spot where the bunker will die. There we go. Down goes the bunker. Down goes those Marines. Down goes all of that. Must be nice to play Protoss, huh? I think it is nice to play Protoss. I think he's having fun. Killing all of the SCVs. He did so much to deserve this. I guess that trying to kill the Nexus first wasn't necessary. But I don't want to get into the salt arguments. I'll just let you enjoy them. So, a very salty Artie leaves the game. I can't say he GG'd out of the game. That would be a misstatement. But that was fun. A best of 3. I enjoy the ladder struggles of Artosis as much as the next person. I know his favorite to play against is Protoss. So I picked this little mini-series to bring to you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I think for the most part, pretty quality StarCraft. You know, the argument always around Artosis is knowing that this stuff happens, should he not just adjust his play instead of just chalking it up to the fact that the race is easy? I don't think that argument is valid, particularly at a high level. You know, ASL hasn't been won by a Protoss player, I think, almost ever. So, you know, you cannot say definitively that Protoss is an easy race. It's just factually untrue. If you are prone to getting cheesed and beaten by certain strategies, you know, perhaps you should just get better at playing against certain strategies. Anyway, I'm Rabidrew, and I really enjoyed bringing you this series. And there are many more fun ones to come. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to cover more Artie Salt, or if you'd like me to focus on different types of players. Always happy to hear what you guys think. Until next time, take it easy.